Hello and welcome to another LEGO Train MOC showcase video. This is the British Railway Standards 9F class Evening Star. One thing I had to try and get correct on this model was the cylinder. It's not square, it's more at an angle. I did some slightly complicated internal building where I had to use a bit of string and a hinge brick in order for it to get this angle. The drive wheels are LEGO brand and they are the standard large size. Going from back to front, the arrangement is blind, flange, blind, blind, flange. It's in this configuration because it leads to no derailing, though it does lead to some overhang. I had to go back and forth on how I wanted this to be, but ultimately the arrangement that you see here on screen was the best for the build. This model, like many of my models now, feature trimline tape. This really does bring out a lot of detail of any kind of train, or any kind of model in particular. The trimline tape on this model, however, is more simple, and because it's in orange, it's not as demanding. The only other LEGO train that I've had to build with orange lining is the City of Truro, so it wasn't too much in demand. One thing I don't really like about this model is the cab. It is absolutely tiny. It doesn't look too bad and I can fit a minifigure inside, but for the sakes of scale and how this model kind of turned out overall, the cab is just really short. It doesn't keep up with the scale of all the other models, but sadly, in order to amend this cab, I have to amend the entire engine, and that's just, sadly, not an option. One of the biggest problems, if not the biggest problem with this model, is the connection of the cab to the tender. With the arrangement of the drive wheels, there is a blind one at the back and the overhang is absolutely massive. So whilst there is that massive gap between the cab and the tender, it has to be like that in order to not have the two collide. Where it should look something like this, something really close up, something that looks just so much more accurate and so much better. But again, because of how kind of the bricks work, it just doesn't allow for you to have a model that close with the real arrangement that I went with. It's really frustrating and a bit of a shame, but again, going back and forth, it's just something you're going to have to make a compromise with. That's all for the boiler, and now onto the tender. This is one of the best looking tenders I've ever made. When it came to making tender engines in the past, I would always come to this sort of stump where I thought, oh, I've got to make the tender now, and the tender tends to look quite awful, but this, I have really hit it out of the park. It looks overall just staggering. The front area where it would meet the cab looks quite simple, but it's basically all it needs to be. The lining is beautiful, all the details along the top are simple, but it's all it needs to be, and it's just an amazing looking tender. But it is the wheels that really sell it. The springs I've got above the wheels are designed in such a unique way. This is something I would never think to do myself, and probably something I wouldn't have figured out if it wasn't for user British Bricks. He is such a clever builder, and with the use of the medium-sized drivers, I've been able to create this look where it's just much more realistic. The only other way you can get this sort of look that isn't brick built is with the standard sort of rolling stock train wheels. This looks absolutely phenomenal. I was able to add these small yellow pieces outside of the wheels as well, and overall it's just a really good, solid construction. Thank you all ever so much for watching this showcase video. If you want to see what this looked like in the past when it was 6 studs wide, if you want to see this in action, or if you want to support me on Patreon, all of the appropriate links will be in the description below. If you have any questions or queries, be sure to ask them in the comment section. I love having the interaction with my subscribers. It's such an amazing thing to be able to talk about the models and the videos. Any questions, again, make sure to ask them. I will do whatever I can to answer them as clearly as I can. Thank you for watching. Take care.